time of first onboarding. So he frankly told that they told me that give your all marketing efforts and all the kind of marketing strategies to us. We will handle it accordingly. You don't need to think from any perspective. You just need to tell us the basic brands USPs, the basic brands details with the uh, customized suits and tuxedos, right? So that was the biggest error, that they over promised the client, and the client also didn't got fully satisfied with that, and he agreed to the
Mhm.
deal. He agreed to the deal. So at the initial level only, if they would have discussed, sir, we need some kind of photo shoot for your brand, because in the US, if we talk in terms of US and we do research and all, they are more social geek than us. They are more social people
Yes.
than us in terms of social media, because it is said that US is at least 10 years ahead of us, at least 10 years ahead of us. So they I think it's a social gain for them in order to click their pictures on their newly purchased tuxedos or their suits or their dresses and so on and so forth. So that was the loophole. I am trying to explain you guys. That was a loophole of the
Mm.
over promise, the kind of over promise they did, and they didn't got into really a most relevant thing of creating a photo shoot calendar. And they could have managed their budget in such a way that it would have done justice to the photo shoot also and to their initial level of discovery phase also. So that was my main differentiator that I would like to discuss with you guys.
Okay.
I think I made myself clear, or you guys are a bit confused. I just talked in terms of over promise, that's it.
No, no, it's
Yeah.
clear. It's clear. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I very well written in the slide, you are able to view. I think you are able to view it. It's all about
Mm.
reverse business mapping, where the fundamentals of marketing are just to align our marketing efforts from our consumers to our product, right? So it's all about every brand must be able to follow one mantra, that first stop, introspect, analyze, and then act. If you are able to follow these mantra, you will never be put in vain like Sutara or like any other business that face early failure in their tenure.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the kind of modern business meditation theta, I call it. It's I think it's I believe it's hard to process, but once you process it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
will get utmost clarity with it. You guys can just read it in a regular fashion, so that it will get more clear to it. Just by looking at the image also, you can uh, get a good idea about it. So the first goes the customer, what kind of thought process or oblique mindset you have. Then you go with the brand voice, that comes in storytelling. Then the brand core, and then content is regarded as the king of the modern businesses. And then what kind of
Mm.
brand channels you are picking, and finally what, in which way and in what way you are doing the branding for your particular business initiative. So that is, it's all about introspection, bro. It's all about introspection. It's all about thinking from your business and thinking in terms of how you want to align your business. I think some of you must be aware about the business canvas model that we make for the businesses. So before the business canvas model, we always have a meeting where we tend
Mm.
to clear the doubts of their business initiatives and our business initiatives and our expectation with respect to them. So I think all in all, I want to conclude it by saying we should have a transparent communication with our client or with our partner. We should have a transparent communication. Ki, sir, if you want to
Uh,
upscale your business, you need to invest in photo shoot. It's not an option; it's a necessity. So we need to be clear.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what my point was.
Yeah. So like, I'll add up is
Yeah.
by saying that I think it's the responsibility of both parties. So like, if imagine if I promise, my investors that I would be producing this much amount of this thing, but the ground reality is that my production houses or my factory isn't
Yeah.
capable of producing that in that promised time frame
Yeah.
or amount. So I think it's all about that what do you call that? It's about that intention to just get the investors or get the team
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
on
yes,
our
yes.
side,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and because of which we just go beyond our reality and we would faith, our reality and made promises that aren't even uh, anywhere near to be possible.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it's the responsibility to both parties. I mean, investors must also be aware, and it's also their responsibility to ask, the other party to prove their numbers and prove their current records and accordingly go.
It should be
Uh,
transparent
yeah,
communication. It should be a transparent
yeah,
communication. And by being very clear with our mindset, by being very clear with our initiatives, and by taking the right suggestions from the right people at the right time, I must say.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think we shall move ahead now. Is it clear, the deep marketing
yeah. We should.
meditation?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. So the next slide is a quite interesting slide. It's top marketing trends and strategies in 2021. So it's going from 2020, but now it will come at boom. So you guys can just quickly just look into the slide and then we can go ahead. We can just discuss it accordingly because it's quite interesting slide. One of the most favorite slide of mine in this presentation.
Okay.
You can just read the bullet pointers of it.
I actually like while back I I made a wrote it an article on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
top 10 upcoming trends in conversational marketing.
Oh,
So
that's quite good,
much
man.
of
Quite interesting.
yeah, so much of you that you have mentioned here is very relevant because
Yeah,
that's exactly
sounds
what I
good.
have mentioned.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. I think that match must be there. That match and that connect must be there, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the webinar becomes quite interesting and the conversation becomes quite interesting.
yeah, yeah. It was
So
mentioned in that conversational marketing is that this chatbot marketing which is a new thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's kind of a trend now because instead of just putting the person and asking him to reply to
Mm,
prospects queries,
mm,
you can just create a chatbot and just put it on automation and it'll do the work. And it
mhm.
saves a lot of money in it.
Correct, correct, correct. And chatbot conversation must be humanly. When a
Yeah,
chatbot
yeah,
is talking to you, it must be humanly. And when we, I think it will get a bit technical from here, but I will not need to discuss
yeah.
that. I will make it more simplified. When you train an ML model, when you train an ML model, you give
Okay.
you give it a certain preset of data in which it tends to react and give us a predictive insight for that particular input, right? But
Yeah,
so it depends upon us. The more correct and the more accurate the data preset input will be, the more accurate predictive insight we will be getting in the output and as an output of our ML model or automation and AI model, right? So you very well mentioned that the chatbot marketing, but the chatbot marketing and which is a conversational marketing only, it must
yeah.
go more and more towards human conversation, humanly conversation, so that a person, even if after knowing that I am having a word with the chatbot or having a conversation with the chatbot, he or she should feel that I am having a conversation with a real human.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what the main intention of the chatbot marketing, according to me, is. So they are doing the daily kind of enhancements in the ML model, machine learning model, and I think it has become too much advanced nowadays. And using that
Yeah,
particular framework, the various software companies and the software marketers are selling their products also.
yeah, yeah. True.
Yeah, so that's
And
quite interesting. Yeah,
another thing that you have mentioned here is affiliate, which
yeah,
is which I'm guessing is that you were talking about affiliate marketing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's when we say affiliate, when we hear about affiliate marketing,
Mm.
we automatically think it to be as an online method to earn money. But
Mhm.
I've kind of gone deep into understanding what this way of earning money is, and by going deep, one thing that I understood that most brands and companies, especially that are from the SaaS industry,
Mhm.
they 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 have the they introduce introduced this this method of promotion, which is affiliate. Because
Okay.
if the
Okay.
user can himself spread the word from the mouth of word to the other users
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, about
Mm,
their product,
mm.
it's nothing better than that.
Exactly.
If a
Very well
person
said.
getting
Very well
word
said.
to word
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, knowledge about some other company's product, there's nothing better than that,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
you get commission for it.
I completely get your point. It's a kind of reward system also, and it's a kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
ambassador program also. And that makes me jump to directly to my slide, in which you talked about a very good thing about the user generated content. So excuse me for that. Um, can
Yeah.
you can you can you guys see the third pointer in that? The having the product evangelist is must. So I have taken this example from one of my client who was into SaaS, software as a service. So they implemented the same system. What they said, that
Yeah.
you need to have the product evangelist, that is the happy customers who talks about your product more than you actually being in business
Mm-hmm.
owner. And one more thing, they talk about the compound interest of your success and failure. So in all your marketing activities, your product need to satisfy your ideal customer needs in the easiest manner. Otherwise, if your product fail, then that failure will be compounded rather than your success. That failure will be compounded. So you should be first very cautious that you create a quality product, and then you need to gradually create your product evangelist, or we per se happy customers who talks about your product and your service more than you talk about it. So as you very well said, nothing can be better than that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was a very valid point I already mentioned in my product marketing strategy slide. And I think that's quite good. So it all boils down
Mm.
to helping the people to get their job done. And once we help them to get the job done, our job is already done of earning revenue and becoming a brand.
Yeah, yeah.
So that sounds really good to me as well. And any pointer you guys want to discuss in this video marketing, visual search, influential marketing? I think these all are very big concepts and the giant macro concepts. But I think we shall discuss it in a short way, if you say, or otherwise we can move ahead.
Yeah, so like I'll just quickly say one thing that few things from this slide, which is influencer marketing, video marketing, and conversational marketing. These three terms are already being implemented, or they are already in the picture
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
since
yeah. They are
the last
already,
couple of
yeah,
years.
yeah. But they will get enhanced. They will get enhanced.
Yeah,
All I'm
they will
understanding.
get that, but the rest of the three, which is artificial, visual, and automation, I think their bubble is going to be their bubble will boom in the near future or
Yeah,
in the near couple of years.
they're double will move. Yeah. So in terms of automation and AI, are you guys aware about this automated mails workflow? Are you guys aware about
Yeah,
it? So so it has been practiced in the back thing, and still it has been practiced. But yes, it will enhance in the near future. But from the Zapier standpoint, the Zapier is a software of email marketing service.
mm,
So I think that they have already created a nice workflow with respect to the email service and the email marketing automation thing, where we can make the campaigns and automate them in order to entice our customers at each stage of their buying journey.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, but they will enhance. But yes, automation and AI has already been uphold from their threshold standpoint.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And artificial intelligence is coming into the picture, and I think visual search will also give it a good pitch to boost accordingly from the customer behavior standpoint also. So I think, guys, we shall move ahead now. Are we all good?
Yeah, we should move ahead.
Yeah, so then yeah, a very interesting topic. We will wind it up quickly. So this is the debate, this is the healthy debate, that what will you prefer as a marketer, as a startup entrepreneur? Will you prefer disruptive innovation, or will you prefer sustaining innovation? So I just keep it to you guys, and then I can add my inputs to it.
Sustaining.
Yeah, sustaining innovation. So I will
Yeah.
just explain it shortly and then we can discuss. So disruptive innovation is something in which you are, what to say, you are countering with the existing technologies and you are pioneering a kind of new better technology in the market, or new services, or new kind of idea in the market, and then you're competing with the already existing technologies in the market, and then with an urge, with a verge to outbid them. So that will be the disruptive innovation. That is that topic, that particular keyword is at boom, and from past near about 2 to 3 years. And sustaining innovation is you already have an existing set of technologies, and then you keep upgrading it and making it better, better, better day by day, and add value to the users and your own community, not the users, but your whole community, and become giant by the tenure of 10 years, or by the tenure of 8 years. So that is a subtle difference in that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like my take on this would be that I mean I would be inclined towards disruptive,
Yeah,
but I'll explain why. Because if we consider that a business disrupt an industry by introducing technology or a form of, or are they they curate a USP of their own which has never been seen,
yeah,
but they fail to do it. They fail to create a new technology every step ahead, and they are just stuck to that one that they created initially. I
right.
think if that is the sense of disruption that we're talking about, then I don't think it's recommendable. Then it's better that you stick to the sustainable. But if you are able to keep your mind active and create new USPs every step ahead, I think that's when disruption is the way that your business should be aligned to.
See, by the USPs, I know what is USP all about, but from by adding new USPs, you mean adding new USPs to the product, or in which way you say to the business model?
I don't know. So by USP, by USP, I meant like new innovations or new technological innovations, in the sense that you're creating more and more efficiency you're creating more efficiency in your products so that your customers are more relaxed about your
Yeah.
services.
Okay. 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 So I think, Yadhir, you want to say something about it? Okay. Okay. Um See, the only thing that makes me hit a chord is that it's a mix of disruption and sustaining growth. But till the time you're not able to figure it out, a very specific and unique technology, that is a disruption technology, uh, before that time you should stick with the sustainable growth day by day, day by day. And
Yeah,
as you
yeah,
said, by adding the USP, so I would say per se that when you add the sustainable USPs to your sustainable business model, then it improves in a long term, and it doesn't collapse with the additive way of enhancement. And then when you create a particular technology in terms of uh, innovation, or in terms of disruption, you can mix it in this particular model, and then you can grow your business substantially. That's what I feel. That's what I feel, because if you're innovating something, and if you're not having a sustainable business model in place, then there will be no space left for the combination of two business mindsets or two technologies. And most of the business owners are not equipped with the independent business model or an independent disruptive business model, so they take help of sustainable business model only. I think they take help of the sustainable business model, and then they grow their business, and then they first sell or they market their disruptive innovation model. And some businesses combine with those businesses, and some businesses have the service or subscription based entity for their particular disruption. For example, there is a 360-degree video option in the Facebook and in the other platforms. So that is a kind of
hmm.
disruption based model, but it can't be run solely. So it needs a sustainable business model in place, so as to sell to them in the form of service or subscription, in the form of feature or subscription. So that's what I believe.
Yeah, I think that's completely valid. Is that Yeah, that's completely valid because until and unless you are not getting that
Hmm.
next idea,
Yeah,
keeping that sustainability in your business, in your business model, will be the right way to go until and unless you're not getting that next idea.
correct, correct, correct.
Once you
Hmm.
once you have that next idea, you should work on it, implement in it, and then again sustain it for some time, and then do it for the rest of the time.
Correct. So that was our sweet short debate on disruptive innovation and sustaining innovation. If you guys want to add some pointers to it, I would be highly obliged to listen.
Okay.
Or we can move
Yeah,
ahead also if you don't want to add, or if you want to switch to the next slide, then we can do that also.
I'll just add a quick point is that like if a person sometime it might happen is that you get too much concern about whether or not to move to next innovation or not, because you are afraid that if the next innovation doesn't work, uh, what's going to happen to the previous one that you did, and that fear kind of holds you back, and it kind of disengages your motive to sustain your current model and keep innovating it. But
Yeah, yeah,
experimenting and taking that risk is a big point when you
correct,
are
correct.
considering starting a business.
Correct. And seeing the realistic model and standpoint, seeing the realistic business model in its standpoint. For example, if you take into the consideration your basic business model framework, and if it allows to have certain kind of disruption based approach to it, then you can create it, then you can add on
Hmm.
to your model, and then you can term your model as a consolidation of disruption plus sustainment. Am I right in that way?
Yeah, yeah,
So it is all about
that's right.
introspection of your business model, and then slowly and gradually aligning your disruption spaces, and first figuring it out that whether your business model framework actually needs some kind of disruption or not. If it is running very well without disruption, then I think we can't overstuff it with the disruption based approach. But most of the technological models, for example SaaS and all the SaaS services and all the technological based AI and automation businesses, they are in need of disruption based approach in order to improve the quality of the content and the way of storytelling in the upcoming years. And that's what the all the marketers are craving for, in order to make more and more
Mm-hmm.
appealing messages and appealing kind of communication with your target audience.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that was what in the conclusion, if you can see my conclusion slide. So that was the gist of the conclusion. So it is a consolidation of both the models, disruption and sustainable growth.
Got it, got it, got it.
Now, in order to make the discussion a bit light, I think it's too heavy information and too much of technical things and all, and too much of what to say, process workflow and all. In order to make this discussion quite light, we should directly jump to the personal branding thing, because I think it will be a really a great interest for all of us. Because at the end of the day, we all need to become a brand. We all aspire to become a brand. So I think it will add value to each one of us. So we
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so this is the slide of personal branding. I call it as a revolutionary asset. And a very good quote that I've listened from my mentor, he said, people want to hear from people, not from the brand. And I firmly believe that. So if there is a brand
Got it, got it.
as Puma or as Nike or as an Apple, it has first been regarded as the owner of that brand, and as the perception, the preconceived notion that that brand has been induced in the minds of its ideal customers through the various campaigns, through the various ads, through the various ideologies, and then they have aligned it, the product, with the customers. So when it comes to business communications, the business conversations, the people want to hear from people, be it your product evangelists, that is happy customers, or be it your uh, other user generated contents that the people share and the happy moments of the people that are being shared for your product or service. So that is the main, the very valid point I would like to make with respect to the personal branding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like a perfect example would be is that you must have heard it, like the CEO of, I think it's of the CEO of BMW or Audi, I don't know. He
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
got started with personal branding
Hmm.
by as he saw what Elon Musk is doing for his automobile company.
Yeah,
I think that the CEO of either of BMW or Audi, he got started with personal branding,
yeah, yeah.
and unbelievably, the they they witnessed a surge in their stock. I mean, if
Hmm.
you follow that news, you
Yeah, yeah,
must have known this.
yeah.
And this proves that, yeah, if you have created a brand and you yourself are the spokesperson of it, or doesn't
Hmm.
matter, you or your CTO or CMO,
Right,
whoever.
right, right,
But even if you have one single person considered as a spokesperson, that is who is relatable to the ground level audience, I
right.
think you can have the chances of a business to grow are way more.
Yeah, yeah. I completely agree with you, Sankal. So it is all about a personal branding evaluation, how you, me, and Dheer can make their personal brand by following a certain step and workflow. So this workflow I have mentioned, I am just sharing with you the secret of personal branding. Be it any industry, be it any niche, this workflow will be same. So first you need to learn about your niche. First you need to get expertise in that. Then you need to work in your craft. Then you can blog about that particular your work by creating your portfolio and by storytelling about your business and idea and your initiatives in order to add value to your customers or your ideal audience, and then start consulting with the people. Like I am consulting with you guys, I am conducting a webinar and I am doing the exchange of information and ideas. So this comes in the consulting. So the you guys will remember me, that whenever we talk about the business, whenever we talk about the modern business, you guys can recommend me someday that yes, Shubham is here, he talks about the business and all, and
Mhm.
in a good way, and then it proceeds in such a way. So in order to become a personal brand, in order to flourish your personal branding, you need to come into the fourth tangent, that is consult, and then you can start mentoring. You can starting revenue to your business by mentoring one-on-one people and by conducting various batches and various orientation with respect to your niche. So this is the last but not the least, and then you can have your startup gradually. So as Sankalp mentioned that most of the businesses are a bit fearful about their initiatives, so I would say
Mhm.
that they should not directly go towards their startup initiatives. They should also do some micro initiatives, like when they will start blogging, they will tend to develop their personal brand, right? And after that, when they will start, after the successful blogging or the successful years of blogging, then when they will realize that they have developed the quality of storytelling, then they can move ahead with the consulting. And after consulting, getting the good reviews from the people, they can then move ahead with the mentoring by adding the revenue mechanism to their niche, to their craft. And then after some years or some months, they can collect the resources, collect the consolidated feedback of their audience where they actually lie as a professional, and then they can upscale and pitch their startup to the investor jury. So so this is what my plan, and this is what I am sharing with you guys,
Yeah.
so that you will get utmost clarity in terms of making your personal brand.
All right. All right. And
Yeah,
another thing is that one another power that comes with personal brand is that if you have created a personal brand, for example, let's consider the master who has in, the master of personal branding, which is Elon Musk.
yeah,
That man has created his personal brand around his companies, and with his personal brand, he's been able to create a brand community.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
like you
yeah,
must have heard, you must be known about this concept of brand community.
yeah, yeah. I completely know about it. I'm going to discuss in the next slides.
Sorry, just a second. Just a second, I'll have water.
Yeah, no problem, bro.
Just a
No problem. Sudhir, I firmly believe that they are able to get value with the uh, slides so far. and
Yes.
you must be able to understand the personal branding evolution. I think it's not a bit complex, but it is just a step-by-step workflow, how you need to move ahead if you want to develop your personal branding.
Yeah, and
So like
these images in the slide, they
Yeah,
remind me of these advertisements they show on TV,
exactly,
like
exactly. Yeah, I purposely. Mhm.
for Apple.
Yeah, exactly. So I purposely
Yeah,
did that. I
Apple.
purposely did that.
Yeah. So Apple
So
uses these kind of images or these kind of clips,
yeah,
to demonstrate their products. It's
exactly.
pretty much cool.
So yeah, thanks, bro. Thanks. And my whole intention of putting these images is to also let you think that how a brand develops its perception, not by its name, but by its images and by its various subtle nuances. Like you very well guessed that these images belong to Apple. You named a particular brand, right? So that was my main intention. That some of the participant must notice this particular thing, this subtle nuance. So that's what how the brand builds and becomes unbeatable.
okay, guys.
So that's a very good observation from your side, Dheer.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. So I'll get back to my point. So I was referring to brand community, and personal branding. The one thing that it has is that it allows you to create a brand community,
Hmm.
which which would support you to do experiments and take risks and get the feedback from that community, because the community won't be that great.
Exactly.
It
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
only consists of people or customers that are emotionally invested in your brand or who've been using or a loyal customer of your brand.
Right, right, right,
And
right.